Sidrohi says hello. The passage we're going to read today I think you might recognize, either because you've read it before or because you've experienced something similar in your own life. So I'm going to read from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 8, verses 22 to 25. Luke 8, 22 to 25. One day Jesus said to his disciples, "Let us go over to the other side of the lake." So they got into a boat and set out. As they sailed, he fell asleep. A squall came down on the lake, so that the boat was being swamped, and they were in great danger. The disciples went and woke him, saying, "Master, Master, we're going to drown." He got up and rebuked the wind and the raging waters. The storm subsided, and all was calm. "Where is your faith?" he asked his disciples. In fear and amazement they asked one another, "Who is this? He commands even the winds and the water, and they obey him." These days that I've been stuck at home, I have to confess that I've been spending a lot of time on YouTube, and a lot of that time on YouTube has been spent watching a specific illusionist, someone who does magic tricks, that sort of thing. And two things have made a real impression on me when watching these videos. First, even though I've watched so many of this particular illusionist's videos, every time I watch a new one, I'm totally floored, I'm totally amazed. This illusionist is quite famous for what he does. He's been doing it for a number of years now. So these days when he approaches someone on the street to perform an illusion, they recognize who he is, and they know that they're going to see something incredible. Okay, but even though they know who he is, and even though they know they're going to see something incredible, once he performs the illusion, they still end up being in total amazement, total shock. And that's because, and they react this way because they've never seen something like this before. And often their response is fear. It's fear. They haven't seen something like this before. They can't explain it. They don't understand it. So these videos are fun to watch, not only for the illusions performed, but also because people's reactions are quite fun to watch. The second thing that's made an impression on me in these videos is the behavior of the illusionist himself, before, during, and after performing the illusion. Because when he's performing these illusions, people go absolutely crazy, and he himself remains totally calm. He shows no excitement or anxiety, not even for a second, because he knows that in the specific situation, he is in total control. He's calm because he knows that he's in total control. I'm guessing you're picking up on the connection I'd like to make between these videos and the passage that we just read. But let me just make clear from the start that I'm not in any way implying that Jesus was some sort of illusionist. I'm not saying that his miracles were some sort of trick or anything like that. That being said, there are some similarities that I noticed between his videos and the passage that we just read. Similarities that mainly relate to human behavior. So Jesus' disciples know him, right? They've been able to experience him on a personal level. They've experienced his incomparable love. They've seen the compassion he's shown to so many people. They've witnessed the care he's given, not only to his friends, but also to strangers. And despite them having seen all these things on a daily basis, when danger rolls around, they doubt whether Jesus will show the same care that he's shown every day up until that point. Mark in his gospel attributes slightly different words to the disciples than Luke does. Mark writes that they said, as they woke him up, "Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing? Don't you care that we're perishing?" The disciples don't only doubt the heart of their Lord, they also doubt his authority. Even though they've traveled with him and witnessed so many healings and so many exorcisms, they've seen that he has power, he has authority over sicknesses, he has power and authority over what we'd call the spiritual realm. They've seen these things, and yet they're in shock when they see that he even has authority over nature, over the winds and the waters. And all the while, from the beginning until the end of the storm, Jesus is not anxious, even for a second. He shows that He is in complete control. He's in complete control. In the disciples, we see ourselves. We see people whose trust in Christ is just as shaky as the waves that threaten them. I was reading a sermon by a guy who preached on the same event, and he noted a certain tension that exists in the life of every Christian. The tension is this: we have reason to be afraid, and we have no reason to be afraid. Maybe paradox is a better word, not tension. We have reason to be afraid, and we have no reason to be afraid. What does he mean by that? Well, he observes that in the passage, the disciples are scared during the storm, and they're scared after the storm. During the storm, they're afraid of the wind and the waves. After the storm, they're afraid because of Jesus, who has authority over the wind and the waves. The preacher wanted to say this: you will always have fears in your life. You'll always have fears, but you can choose what to fear. Are you going to fear life's many storms, sicknesses, an uncertain future, rejection, and so on? Are you going to fear those storms, or are you going to fear God, who is infinitely above all those things? If you're a Christian, if that is, God has revealed Himself to you in the person of Jesus Christ, you will know that there is nothing more frightening than God Himself, as there is no being with greater power or authority. At the same time, though, you will know that this God, the God who's revealed Himself to you in the person of Jesus Christ, you will know that this God is a God full of love, compassion, and mercy. He is a God who cares for His creatures. In the person of Christ, we see God Himself having total authority and total compassion. I'll say that again. In the person of Jesus Christ, we see God Himself having total authority and total compassion. In the person of Jesus Christ, we also see a human who knows very well that God is all-powerful and all-good, and that is why Jesus can sleep peacefully as the waters rush into the boat, as the waves violently throw it about, and as the wind deafens the ear. Friends, in His goodness, God has preserved us until this day. Don't forget this. And don't forget that whatever you may be facing today, a sickness, a crisis of faith, a wounded relationship, whatever it may be, God is not distant. He's here with you. His power and authority are incomparable, as are His love and care for you. This, of course, does not mean that you won't feel the weight of the waves. The storm is real, but its danger cannot be compared to the strength of God. And as the Apostle Paul says elsewhere, our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us.